Oh my god, not a big one, but there is frost. I was quite surprised this morning to wake up to frost. Okay, so this is like I just want to talk about something that we've been observing for a little while now. So it's not something we've seen for a couple of days. This is something we've seen probably part of it we've seen since beginning of August last year, as we got back from camp. There was a timeline jump in the Lionsgate portal, and when we got back from that, in fact, I'll start there. I'll start at the beginning, shall I? And I'll get to the observation that we've been seeing. I'll get to that in a minute, because there's a little bit of a backstory. And if I told you this, then feel free to skip ahead. So when we went on our summer camp last year, we've been going we've been going to this place for since 2012. And we usually go back at least once a year, even if it's first camp of the season. Obviously since 2020, when there weren't a lot of places open, when we wanted to go, we've just been going to this place once a year. For 10 days, extending it if we can. So yeah, we went on the camping trip last year, and the year before, in 2020, the weather was bonkers. It was so hot. No, not, well, barely any shade, because we had these little tiny trees that we were camped next to. It was so hot that it was hard to move. I mean, we tried doing a walk a couple of times, and we got halfway and we're like, no, we've got to go back. Literally, it's like you move and you just like, your whole body goes, no. So yeah, so I went in 2020 and the weather was amazing, and it was what we realized it was. This was a cleansing. It was also a baptism of fire when connecting with Sekhmet. Fast forward to last summer camp. It was nice when we got there. We stood out by the fire because we came up with an amazing song for the fire. And it was literally the next day when the deluge started, because we were walking. We were just doing a little walk to kind of start, and I was just wearing a top. I wasn't wearing a coat or anything, but I never experienced this. So the rain, as we're walking up this track, the rain was just phenomenal. It was, I don't even know how to describe it. I've never known rain like it. It was just that you could barely see in front of you. It was crazy. And I thought, well, I felt very, very strange in that rain. And apparently I looked grey. And Ian thinks I was on the verge of hypothermia. Because it was freezing cold as well, this rain. It was very, very odd. But we managed to get back all right, but I was really ill the next day. Like, stomach issues, really ill. So we didn't go anywhere the following day. And that was the cycle that I noticed. When I got soaking wet in the rain, because it rained just about the whole holiday. Never experienced that in Hassocks. Never. So I would get soaking wet in the rain, and the following day or the same day I would get stomach problems. So it was a big old cleanse of a different kind. Because it wasn't just the rain, it was the winds. And it was mental. It was mental. It was bending tent poles. Yes, it was an old tent. We've now got a new one. 2 new ones, actually. So it was bending tent poles, so we would have to we'd bend the tent poles back. Good job they were aluminium. See you later.
Yeah.
Is it a long day today?
I finished 3:15.
Okay. Behave yourself.
Okay.
He's off to uni soon, so oh my god. Yeah. So where was I? So yeah, it was windy as well, and crazy winds. And we have camped in Hassocks when there has been an actual storm, because most people's tents were flattened. Luckily I stayed up, but yeah, only through like diligence and moving tent pegs and guy lines when needed. So yeah, so we were supposed to be there for 10 days, and it was getting silly. It was the rain and the wind were just getting ridiculous. Yeah. And we'd already had a snapped pole on our extension tent bit. Again, it was an old extension on the tent. But so we'd already had to cobble things together a bit. But it was relentless. It was pretty relentless. We did have some little dry spells. But my point is, on the Lionsgate portal, it was phenomenal. It was like the worst wind and rain, and the mud in the field. Oh my god. I've never seen that field like that. And apparently it does get a bit boggy in the winter, but this was the middle of summer. So it was really interesting. The lady was saying that you know, in the winter they don't allow tents to camp in that field because it is so boggy. But this was the summer. So yeah, whether she has ever seen anything like that, I don't know, but we'd never seen anything like that. So yeah, Lionsgate portal, crazy weather, even more crazy than it had been up to that point. So at one point I'm like, what is that? And we've literally got a swimming pool in the bedrooms. So we're sitting there at 4 o'clock in the morning going, what are we going to do? And we realised at that point, because the tent was leaking, didn't matter how many times I fixed the leaks, sealed the seams. It wasn't doing it because it was raining so much. It just wasn't taking. And there's nothing worse, believe me, when you're in a tent than everything getting damp. It is horrible, and that's what it was getting like. It was getting to the point where, you know, everything's damp, and the smell of this, it was like everything disgusting and mucky was coming to the surface in this field because it stank. It stank like a bog. It really did. I had to wash every single item that we brought back with us because it stank like a bog. It was disgusting. I never want to smell that smell again, believe me. So we agreed that in the morning we'd break camp, but we don't break camp for anything. We've never left early. We might stay longer, but we've never left early. But this was like, nah, we can't. It's not up to it. You know, what are we going to do? Lay down in the middle of a boggy field, you know. Yes, no. And I was I was really angry actually because I'd never break camp, yeah, ever. So so after we agreed that we would break camp, we went back to sleep, tried to get some sleep, and I had a mad dream. That's another story. But before I went to sleep, I was trying in a theta brainwave state to get to what actually was this weather all about. Was it an engineered thing? Was it, you know, something else? Were we doing it? Because if you look at, you know, the elements, as you know, you are all the elements. You know, were we doing this somehow? And you know what? I kept hitting a ceiling. And I'm like, I just want to know. And I got told very specifically, leave it alone. We're doing this. Okay, or whatever. So went to sleep, had this weird dream. Which funny enough was about rain. And come home the next day. We had to leave the tent and the extension there because there's no way we could have carried it home. It was just so waterlogged. There's no way we could have brought it home. So we get back, you know, and we get settled back in. And it was on a marsh walk. Because we use the marshes for divination because it's a very powerful space. Excuse me. It's a very, very powerful space of divination. We've got a big main road that I suppose cuts through the middle of it, and you've got freshwater and saltwater marshes, like one each side. And we use that for divination as well because we use yes and no answers, the colours of the lorries that go past and words and stuff that we get. So I asked that question because it occurred to me that could have been some kind of a cleanse. And it came out, yes, it was a cleanse. You've been reset. And that this message was coming from a higher source, my higher self, further than that. But it was a timeline jump. Excuse me. And what was really interesting is before I'd asked those questions on the marshes, we were noticing how quiet it was. You know, what are you talking about, Ange? Yeah. Sometimes it's quiet. No, this was very different. This was a stillness. And things like the constant drone of the M25, which we would hear all the time. Especially, you know, at night, and especially when it had been raining, it was extra loud at those times. It had gone. That drone had gone. And it was almost like something had been switched off. Now, a little bit later on in the year, I was talking to one of my witchy friends about this, and when we were sitting down and working it out, I think she'd worked it out that there was a particular frequency which causes dissonance in our being. And I can't remember how we'd come. There's a bunch of synchromistic happenings that had kind of brought us to this conclusion that this frequency, which, I mean, what's been your observation of this? Do you find, if you're indoors, or even if we go outside, that there's a stillness out there? There's not this, almost like a constant background noise that keeps you like that, yeah. Because it's definitely not here anymore. Definitely not. But there is a specific frequency, and I can't remember off the top of my head. It's in one of my books, written down in the notes. I know it's seven something. Can't remember. I know it's 700 and something. So that was an interesting thing, later on in the year. But yeah, it was very noticeable that it was quieter around here, and that there were a lot less people. Significantly less people just going about their business. Less cars, because the one thing that joy, oh joy, yeah, that we used to get on this road that goes up by the side of us was cars and bikes constantly going up and down and revving their engines and going up and down this road at fucking like 50 miles an hour, yeah. And it would be very annoying, because I would find it very annoying, because when I was doing a video, all I get, sometimes when I record a meditation, I get like bikes and cars in the meditation. And, I learned to kind of block it out in the end. But it's like, that was a constant thing that we would have, and people shouting and, just scallywags, you know what I mean? And, none of that. It's quiet. 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 When we do the marsh walk, so during 2020, there were so many people walking on those marshes that there was no grass anymore. It was all dirt and mud. So what's really interesting now, and yeah, some of this might be because people have gone back to work, possibly, yeah, but there are significantly less people walking those marshes because there is now grass, and there's barely like a mud track, if you like. So the first bit of the observation is less people. When we've been doing the outreach, sometimes we're doing like an outreach on a Saturday. Dartford, I used to avoid Dartford like the plague on a Saturday. It's like it would take you like an hour to get from one end of the high street to the other, because there was just so many people. Not anymore. So what are you observing? And, you know, is this localized, or are you seeing it further afield? I don't know. I do know last year when we went camping, there were significantly fewer people than the previous year when it was, and you know, this campsite does get busy. In the summer holidays, it gets busy. But 2020, I've never seen it like that, ever. The woman actually said to us that, you know, because they've been shut for most of the year, and they're open 365 days a year, this campsite. They're a charity. That's why we don't mind paying their prices to go there. And the woman actually said, you know, they lost a lot of money that first bit of 2020. But in the couple of weeks, or because I think they opened in May. And in that, between, was it May or June? I think it was June. Between, like, in those 2 months, they'd made enough money. They'd more than covered the money that they lost at the beginning of 2020. That's how busy it was. It's crackers. Yeah, and then when we went in last year, there was barely anyone there. It was interesting. I think I've done a video as well about I think I did. I think I put it up on here. I'm not sure. Where there were things, because me and Ian decided that what we'd do for his birthday is we'd take the new tent and we'd go back and we'd camp in the same spot just to get rid of that energy, yeah. Because it left us feeling a bit low, you know, because we'd had to break camp and the weather was crap and, you know, it was a challenging holiday for all different reasons. So when we went back, there were a series of things that happened that made us realise that we'd jumped timelines without question. But I think that's in another video. I'll put it up here or down there or somewhere, because I go into detail about it. So I suppose we kind of noticed less people being about on that holiday, but we didn't really fully realise that until we got home. And then that's continued to be a thing, seeing less people and the stillness and the quiet. I mean, sometimes if the birds are out and we got the window open, you can hear the birds singing. You couldn't have done that before because there was a constant noise that drowned out any kind of nature sounds. Because back in 2020, when we were doing a manifesting experiment, I actually created the sound of the countryside, yeah, because you couldn't hear the birds outside, and I would play it indoors. People say, "Where's bird noises coming from?" But it was a soundtrack I created because you couldn't hear the birds outside. It's fascinating. So, less people. You might say, oh, but that's because, you know, there were so many people dead from this whole, you know, pandemic. Yeah. Okay. So if that was the case, for significantly less people to be about, yeah, you would expect, like, the spike, well, you would expect it to be a constant upward graph, wouldn't you? Like a big spike that would just keep going and keep going and keep going. Or at the very least, during the whole of 2020, yeah, just a huge, whoa, like a ramp, yeah? You would expect that, wouldn't you? Would you expect that? Okay, I'm going to show you something. So this is Euromomo. So Euromomo is this is like black and white. Is someone dead or not dead? Okay. So I'm going to play this to you. This is a little video they've got here. So so it goes from 2016, 2017, 18, 19, 2020, 2021, 2022. So if you look here, so anything that is like in this blue zone here, so you got moderate excess, high excess, very high excess, and extraordinarily high excess. Yeah. Now, if people were dropping down dead in the street, it would be this one. Yeah. That would be for what they did. Yeah. This would be extraordinarily high excess deaths to justify the measures they took. Yeah. Which were not like anything else, because if you have a so-called infectious disease, you isolate the people who are diseased. You don't isolate the whole of society. Yeah, you isolate the people. That's why you would have isolation hospitals built out in the middle of nowhere. We used to have some here on the marshes in Dartford. Yeah, isolation hospitals for that specific purpose. So I'm going to let this video play, and you will see, let me just move that up a little bit. Oh, okay. So this is Europe, yeah. I don't know about the rest of the world. This is Europe. So it's a good marker, if you like. So 2016. So this is the weeks. So as you get to the end of the year, you get slightly more because it's winter, yeah. So 2017, yeah, kind of the same again. You get more in the blues, in these dark blue colours. Okay, 2019. So what's? Oh no, sorry, don't stop that yet. So as we get into the later part of 2019, now. Isn't that when they said it all started? Nothing unusual going on there then. Little blip there. In fact, when you look at if you go back through the previous years, you know, there was these blue colours would appear at the end of the year, and we didn't get that in this. In the end of 2019, we go back, we don't get any of those dark blue colours really, not like the previous years. But oh my god, look at that. Yeah, so I know what you guys are, but that's COVID-19. Yeah, well, is it? Got nothing back here, and it was allegedly going on at this point. Yeah, nothing. Little bit of a moderate excess there, but we're still in winter. Yeah, nothing really there. A little bit there, nothing unusual though. Yeah, it's barely anything. Yeah, and what were they saying about Italy? Yeah, this is moderate, and they were plugging it as extraordinarily. Yeah. The reason I'm telling you this is because for there to be significantly less people knocking about, generally, that would have to be an extraordinary number of people died. Yeah, extraordinary. Yeah, not moderate or maybe high excess deaths. Yeah. So we were at 12 weeks in. Now, about 12 weeks is when they did the lockdown. Yeah, roughly 12 weeks. I don't know the exact number of weeks, but it was around that time. So we are now seeing, and they told people, well, in the UK they told people that they were not to go to hospital, they were not to go to the doctors. So, and you know, not forgetting the whole shock and awe aspect of what they did. Yeah. So from here on, I'm going to play this. So it was supposed to be 3 weeks. So look at this. This is week 12. So at week 15, you would expect, what would you expect to see? Yeah. So by week 17, by week 8, by week 20, what? Where's all the dark blue gone? Where's all the dark blue gone? Where's it gone? So even if there was a pathogen of some description, yeah, by week 20 it had gone. So this extraordinary high excess that they clearly wanted to happen so week 32, only, you know, 20 weeks left till the end of the year. So this is around 45. So this is what, October time. So we're getting into the winter again, aren't we? So it's quite normal if you go back. I mean, if you go back along any of these, you can go to Euromomo and look for yourself. Yeah, check it out yourself. It's around this time that we start seeing this blue anyway. Yeah. But it doesn't stay for long, does it? It doesn't stay. I mean, even in 2021, you know, it's like beginning of 2021. What are we seeing there? We're kind of seeing there's a little bit there, January. But then as we move forward, and it goes again, yeah? So you got 1 week in January. Oh, 2 weeks. 2 weeks in January where you got the dark blue, yeah, or 3 weeks. But it starts to go. After those 3 weeks, it starts going back down again, yeah? So there is not a huge upward spike. So I can show you the graphs. Let me find it. So this is all ages, yeah. This is across Europe, yeah. So we have, it's 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. So there's a slightly bigger spike there, which was around, this started going up. This would have been around the 12-week mark again. Yeah, which is what you saw in that little video. But if you look at that, and it goes down very quickly, so there is no, like, how would you describe that? It's not an upward trend, is it, of death, yeah, which would explain, you know, the amount of people that are not about. So I wanted to show you that. Go and check it out for yourself. Go and have a look around their website because it's very interesting. Okay, so coming back. So there's less people knocking about. The normal response, well, the response I get from some people is, oh, people are really scared. Really? So 70% of the population aren't going out of the houses. They're scared. If that was the case, the whole infrastructure would have broken down by now. There is a metaphysical aspect to that, which I'll talk about in a minute. So you've got less people. You've got this strange phenomena of the stillness. And something that we started noticing, it must have been towards the end of last year. I might have put it in a video already, I'm not sure. But we are still seeing this phenomena, yeah. I think we did. We were seeing it around definitely around Yule time last year, because we took a couple of walks to see the lights, yeah. And we were noticing that there were a lot of, the only way I can describe it is like blacked out windows. Let me know if you've seen the same thing. And this could be during the day. We've seen it, you know, all times of the day. In the morning, middle of the day, in the evening. We have observed this strange phenomena at all times of the day. And what it looks like what they would use in theatres, yeah. So if you've got windows, or if you're using a hall, yeah, for your show, but you've got windows around the top, yeah, you would put blackout fabric or thick card, yeah, on the inside of the building, obviously, but to black it out. But on the outside, it would look just like a black, yeah. There'd be no, you couldn't see anything inside the building, yeah, when the lights were on. It's like that. That is the only way I can describe it. It's like blackout. It's very strange. So we're either seeing this strange blackout thing going on, I'll say any time of the day, or we're seeing rows and rows, there's some slight exaggeration, we are seeing a significant amount of closed blinds and curtains. Why? Well, we don't know. Obviously we don't know, yeah. But along with the if you took that on its own as a separate thing, like one thing, you'd say, oh well, you know, people want to keep the sun out or whatever, or you know, I don't know why people would keep their curtains shut all the time. Depression, maybe. But then that would be significant in itself, would it not? But it's on with the other things as well. So less people, not as much background noise, yeah. But also the blacked out windows, curtains and blinds just shut. And there can be cars outside. There's sometimes there's cars outside, sometimes there's no cars. Sometimes you can hear voices inside the house, but with these strange blacked out windows, it is a little creepy. It is very, 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 very strange. You know, and we're not, I don't know how, we've been observing this for months now, so it's not like we've just seen it and we're like, oh my God, what's happening? This has been ongoing for months. So I wanted to just put it out there, really, to see if you are experiencing any of the same things. What are you observing? So this is an observation. Definitely, we are seeing it. But the really interesting thing is there's a feeling that comes with it as well. So it's not just a seeing thing. This is a sensing thing. Yeah. So the feeling, the sense that we get when we, or even just sitting here, there's a peace. There's a definite, there's a peace around. That might sound a bit strange. Okay. So I suppose another way to look at that would be you don't feel like you have to hurry anywhere. There's like a chilled. It's chilled. Yeah. Does that make sense? There's this seagull. What is a seagull? It's not got a pigeon. What is it, pigeon? It looks like a seagull sitting in the horse chestnut over there. I've never seen. Can't tell if it is a seagull or a pigeon. Need it to turn its head. Could be either. I have to say I've never seen a seagull sitting in that tree. Oh my goodness. That's funny. So yeah, what are you observing? What are you feeling? I mean, you might not be seeing or experiencing any of this. You know, we don't know if it's localized. Something that we did see it was around Crimbo, around Yule time, and I thought it'd be interesting to look at the Christmas market videos from all around Europe. They were like, no, there was hardly anyone there. Hardly anyone there. And we are kind of getting, you know, people are kind of telling us, you know, if they're going somewhere that's normally very busy and there is like, there's nobody there. So there is a phenomena going on, and you could actually call this, because if you look at the history that we're not told, over time, over a period of time, there will be a number of resets. But that's a whole nother video. Where people disappear, and you get like new people come in. This is really interesting. So altogether as a phenomena, so you've got less people, the lack of the background noise, you've got these strange blacked out windows, and then you've got, you know, curtains and blinds firmly shut. So looking at the Euro Momo, we know that there's not been a there's not been even for 50% of the population. If you look at Europe as a like a, I don't know what you could call that, just as an example, you know, 50% of Europe isn't dead. 50% of Europe didn't die during these last 2 years. So it kind of leaves you thinking, so what has gone on then? So jumping to the metaphysical, because you can't just take this physical reality as, yeah, that's it. We are not, because we are we are metaphysical beings. Yeah. So I heard something very interesting the other day from a lady that we watched called Linda McGillis, and she was talking about, because I've been talking about NPCs, yeah, background actors, whatever you want to call them, disappearing. Yeah. I've been talking about that with people for a little while now. And funny enough, in the video that we watched a few days ago, she was talking about that. Not directly saying people disappearing, but what she was saying was that as we move along our journey towards higher states of being, we are calling back those fractals of our own soul, which would be the non-player characters, all those descriptions that people call them. Yeah. So we're literally calling back our own energy, which is why they're disappearing. Oh my God. That, yeah, the way she said it, it was like, it explains what is happening. Completely explains what is happening. And it also explains how, if there are less people and there's less traffic on the road, blah, 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 yeah, how can you still get your food shopping delivered? Because you send a fractal of your soul to get it and deliver it for you. You have that ability to do that. It's like you have a fractal of your soul who is your servitor, who goes out, picks up those bits and brings them back to you. I love it. I love this work. I do love this work. It is so fucking cool. If you're interested, just as a ad break, if you're interested in kind of learning more about your soul, if you go to our website, crystalsrock.earth, in the healing page, that's the word I was looking for, there's a link there to soul realignment. It tells you a little bit more about it. So go and check that out, because what that does for you is it uncovers who you are at soul level, but also, pardon me, how your soul wants to be in the world, how it wants to express itself. Yeah. And if there's something that, pardon me, is, I'd say probably the most important thing you want to be doing is being aligned with your soul right now. Yeah, and these past couple of years, I've noticed that the people that I've done readings for, the ones that have taken it and really gone with it, they're flying. So, yeah, if you want to fly, have a soul realignment reading. We do other things as well. We do sound healing. Obviously, that's a one-to-one thing. Something that we are thinking of doing is if you're not in our local vicinity, but you want sound healing, we're actually thinking of doing maybe 2 or 3 soundscapes that you can then purchase as a digital download, so that you've got them. Yeah. Because obviously if you can't get to us for sound healing, but you still want sound healing, that could be an option for you. And obviously the price structure on the website is how we structure the price of the prices of things we can control. The on-demand print stuff, that's a set price, unfortunately, or fortunately, because that's not us that does it. But anything else that we sell on our website that we can control the price of, we have different price structures depending on your budget and what you want to pay. So the other thing that we're doing is we're doing our Witchcraft Basics course. The first online lesson of those will be on the 21st of March. So if you want to sign up for that, and it's donation based. So the way I'm doing it is each lesson you get, if you go on the sign up page, so on the front page of our website there's a little ticker tape, so you can click on the relevant part of that and you can go and look on the sign up page at the different lessons. So it's over 13 months. It gives you time to absorb and actually practice. Yeah. So you can get an idea, if you go on that page, on that sign up page, you get an idea of what lessons that you want to sign up for as they come up. Yeah. So you haven't got to pay it all in one go. You haven't got to pay for all the lessons you want to do all in one go. You can do it, you know, on a monthly basis. And if you decide that you don't want to do a lesson or you're not around to do that lesson, then you don't need to do that lesson. But it's all donation based, so you can pay whatever you want to contribute. Yeah. We're also doing them one-to-one here, but obviously that's only for people that are in this vicinity that might want to come here and do that. That's fine. I'm keeping that group very small though, deliberately so. But that's donation based as well. So we're approaching our enterprise in a very different way, and it actually feels better for us. And believe me, we've gone down the, you know, charge, you know, like, I mean, you can still, if you do want to pay for the whole course in one go, you can do that. That's fine. There are links below this video where you can do that. That's what you feel you want to do. Because we've got the Witchcraft Basics and we've got the Advanced Witchcraft as well, which is all about this. So, how's it going with that? It's gone. So yeah, we're doing our business in a very different way that feels right for us. That's what I was going to say. So we've tried the, you know, doing it like a lump sum kind of thing, or, you know, like even tried the high ticket thing, and it's like none of that felt right. This feels right. So that's what we're doing. So right, getting back to, so any links will be for any of that stuff will be under this video. Go and check it out. So getting back, so ad break's finished. So getting back to the question. So there are less people, definitely less people. There's less background noise. We're seeing this strange phenomena of blacked out windows. and curtains and blinds that stay shut any time of the day. Go and observe it for yourself. But also, what is the feeling? What is the feeling that you get when you're outside walking about, or when you're observing less people, or when you're observing, if you actually observe these strange blacked out windows, what is the feeling that comes with that? What is that feeling? Because that, when you're tuning in to that energy, what is that for you? Because it says it's definitely changed, without question. It has changed out there. There's not really a lot more that I can say about that, but it's definitely changed. And that the death rate hasn't gone through the roof. And, well, the infrastructure hasn't collapsed either. But then when you jump to the metaphysical, you can see why that would be. Because we have the ability to send out fractals of ourselves to do this stuff. We leave our energy in places, and there is actually a really, really cool meditation. Can I link that? I could probably link a Google Drive. I'll put a Google Drive link in there as well for that meditation. Because in that meditation, what you do is you go and you retrieve all the energy or the fractals of yourself that you have left in places. It's amazing. So I'm going to leave you with, what's the thought I'm going to leave you with? What's this bit of paper here? I have bits of paper with notes written on. No, that's not relevant. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. Is what we are feeling and observing the start of how we see the ascended earth? If that makes sense. So if you take that the earth ascended in 2012 and we're playing catch up, are we now seeing or starting to see aspects of that ascended earth? And are we starting to feel it and observe it? Yeah. Are we feeling in to that energy of ascended earth as these other things drop away, as all the crap falls away? Are we now starting to experience this ascended earth? Question. yeah, so comment below. What have you observed? What have you been experiencing when it comes to, you know, even the sun being completely different and doing interesting things? You know, what have you been experiencing? Anyway, I'm going to go. So until I see you next time, stay fearless.